Hi, we're excited to invite you to be a part of something truly meaningful. Purpose-Inspired TV, a faith-based streaming channel and social media outlet focused on helping people discover and live out their God-given purpose. We're building more than just a media outlet. We're creating a like-minded community of content creators, coaches, teachers, business owners, faith leaders, and everyday people who are passionate about making a real impact, locally, nationally, and even globally. Our mission is simple but powerful. Help people in every area of life. Uplift and inspire through positive, purpose-driven, collaborate on real-world projects where there's need. Whether you create, teach, coach, or simply have a heart to serve, there's a place for you here. We believe that if you're human, you're worth helping, and together, we can reach and impact more lives than ever before. We can change lives and grow together. Our numbers are small, just like all the other platforms when they started, but as we grow, we will help you grow as a family. We will work together and pull each other up. If this sounds like something you're called to be a part of, we'd love to connect with you. We can participate on each other's shows. We can partner with each other on a cause. You can get a time slot on the channel. You can be a sponsor on the channel. Let's work together with and for a purpose. Don't just watch history, let's make it. Get inspired, Purpose-Inspired TV.
All right. What's up, everybody? How are you doing this evening? Hey, it's summertime. We've been getting a lot of rain. A couple of days before the 4th of July. Independence Day. We'll celebrate Independence Day. Look at that. I had the bowl. Get my bowl out of the shot. Yeah, I was eating my watermelon. I'm almost done with it. Almost done. I've learned to eat the seeds, but don't chew them, just swallow them whole. Good for you. I just got one last piece. They didn't bring me anything here to eat, to drink. Yeah, I'm starting a little bit, giving people some time to come on in. All right. One more. I'm done. I am done. I hope I don't get thirsty. All right. Like I said earlier, turn this volume down. Turn that on down. Okay, so earlier today, I was a special guest on a podcast, and I was requested to talk about men's mental health. We know last month was Men's Mental Health Month, and we're into another month, and they were saying, yes, men's mental health was being recognized last month, but now we are in the month of celebrating freedom. So they asked me to tie together freedom and men's mental health. So I was like, okay, so I worked on it, and I came up pretty much with a whole show. I didn't get to do the whole show, so I am back, and I'm just going to go over some more things, more discussion about men's mental health to um, get people thinking, and I would like to even get a conversation going about the subject. All right, let me see over here. Yeah. All right. All right. Good evening, Dr. Kathy. And that's the doctor. Yeah, I'm not a doctor, not Dr. Joe, just come on, old man Joe. Live the life of a man. So that's going to be coming from talking about different men's issues. We're just going to be talking about them. I'm going to be putting some stuff out. And earlier when I was discussing it, yeah, I had some questions that come up. So I didn't have a chance to address the questions. So like I said, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna hit more the topics, and I'm just gonna get going, and then I'll stop and see what the comments are talking about. All right, y'all with me? Be with me. Okay. So we're going to. I'm getting my notes together. So we're talking about men's mental health, freedom, freedom. Talking about the 4th of July. So I'm gonna tell y'all right now. I got a plan. I got a schedule. I got a subject to topic what I'm talking about. But in my mind, I always tie these different things together. So we're gonna be talking about men's mental health. We're gonna be talking about the freedoms, and actually we're gonna be. I know we're gonna be touching on the freedoms. Like we're talking about celebrating 4th of July, celebrate independence. So when we talk about independence, so even independence in your life, independence as a country, and even the point of, we just finished celebrating Juneteenth, and then we celebrate the 4th of July. But during the 4th of July, when the country first started celebrating the 4th of July, celebrating the freedoms, the slaves were not free, but they still was. I believe some people I would ask them to, hey, you need to celebrate this the freedom of our country. So we're supposed to celebrate the freedom of the country, but we are not free in the country. That's crazy. So even people getting in the military, yeah, they went and fought for the country, but when they came back, they wasn't free in their own country. That's another story, another episode, another show. But it just, like I said, I like to tie stuff in because some people, they even in life, we're talking about mental health. A lot of people are showing that they are free. They're showing that they are happy, but on the outside. So on the outside, yeah, the country on the outside was free from England, but on the inside, the people were not free. So a lot of people are showing the outward appearance that they're free, they have everything together, but on the inside, they're not free. A lot of the people who are having battles in their head, super crazy internal battles going on, but they come out there smiling. I've been told they're some of the happiest people, the most cheerful people that you ever see, and then they're the ones that you find out they went and harmed themselves. Seems like it doesn't make sense. But yeah, we can get into it a little bit. So freedom, men's mental health. Yeah. So I'm gonna get on track. I'm gonna get on track. So like I go back to the statistics. It's just rough statistics. I'm not gonna spend a lot of time on it, but one of the statistics is men are 4 times higher than women to cause harm to themselves. Trying to watch my words. I know there's certain words you're not supposed to say, and sometimes I say, so I don't use profanity, but I guess I'm old school, still use words, and now they're saying they're not nice to use. So I try not to say this. I don't understand the words. You use the words in real life, they're not bad words, but they don't want them on social media. But okay, I try to obey the rules. Maybe they'll allow me to start gaining some followers. But so yeah, men are 4 times higher to cause harm to themselves. And there's 1 in 10 experiencing depression or anxiety, but more than more than half do not receive any kind of treatment, or they come up with a solution themselves. A lot of times it may be alcohol, sometimes it may drugs, smoking, even sometimes even women. Men are dealing with things that they can't handle, so they chase out the women. So men make up around 50% of the population. Depends on the area. Some areas it's actually like you go to like where is that? I'm in Canada. Yeah, I think it's Canada. I'm in the United States. The United States. There's some of the states. Alaska. That's what I meant to say. In Alaska, there's the last I understand. So a lot of these things, y'all can check me. You know, people be going off. Oh, you said that one thing wrong. They want to bash you about everything because you get one thing wrong. So I try to lose. But hey, I say stuff in general. So in general, Alaska has more men than women, but in a lot of other parts of the country, there is more women than men. But on average, it's about 50-50. But if it's 50-50, it's almost 80% of the suicide. Can I say that word? People harming themselves. It's about 80% of the men, not the men, 80% of people harming themselves are men. And it's on average around 100 men. What they say now? Unalive. Yeah. There's around 100 men unaliving themselves every day. That's a lot. And then it's a lot of successful men. So the statistics again is a lot of highly educated, a lot of people who have their quote unquote have their act together, doing things, you know, up and up, doing things right. There's the ones seem like they got everything together, but a lot of times there are the ones that are unaliving themselves. They are the ones are under a lot of pressure. You know, they look so super successful. So it's bad. So yeah, the man on the street that's done giving up on life and just, you know, okay, whatever, is less likely to cause harm to himself. But the ones who are under a lot of pressure, they are. I'm just saying the statistics. And a lot of these people who are doing this, they had access to mental health. They had the money, or they had the access to it. They says around 60% of those who cause harm to themselves, they had access, but it's a reason. So the reason why they wouldn't go get the help. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. So then it says around 40% of men which report mental illness receive care in the past year. Let's say around 40%, and then around 52% women. So, you know, even not on talking about mental health, we're talking about even bodily health. Women are more likely, especially if they have coverage. Some of you don't have coverage, they're going to the doctor. If they have coverage, it's so it's a large more percentage of women going to get that physical health and mental health, and men a lot. So again, this is not just numbers. Every single statistic or number thing that we talk about, we're talking about people. We're talking about human beings. We're talking about people who had family, who had wives and children, parents, siblings. So these people had connections with many other people, but they felt that they had nowhere to turn. They felt they had no one to talk to. They had no freedom to be a human being. So that's what we're talking about, freedom, that mental freedom. And when I started, you know, doing my little study, getting my notes together, the first thing popped to my mind, I was starting to think of how did some men get to the point where, like we're going to be talking about not wanting to ask for help. And the first thing that popped in my mind, it was from boys to men. being real early from boys to becoming men. Boys are taught early that boys don't cry. They're taught to man up. They're taught to take it like a man. You know, that's not being a man. You got to be a man. You know, there's man up. You know, you got all this man stuff, and that is fine. A boy is supposed to be taught to be a man, but throughout this whole thing I'm going to be talking about, there is a balance, and I think that's when the balance get off, that's where the problems come in, where there's no balance. We're conditioned to see emotion. I mean, men, that's what I'm talking about. Men are conditioned to see emotional expression as a weakness, vulnerability as a failure. So men are taught we don't supposed to show any kind of weakness, especially around women. You don't supposed to show them that you have any kind of weakness and vulnerability. You can't show that. I think one of the, it's very many, but one of the things I think a lot of men feel like they cannot let people see them cry, especially can't let their spouse see them cry. And the kids, you can't let the kids see you cry. You can't let your spouse see you cry. You can't let people see you cry. So that's you're being vulnerable. So we're taught not to be vulnerable, but that's really not human. And then sports. So sports, and I actually I think I did a TikTok on it about how sometimes a lot of when boys are growing up to be boys, men allow boys to get hurt. They allow them to skin up their knees. They allow them to fall, and it's a part of growing up. And men can deal with that. And then a lot of times the women want to run and throw a pillow and go kiss the boo boo. You know, so sports kind of help boys toughen up. So they need to be able to be tough, but at the same time, they need to be able to express their feelings also. So sometimes it's an imbalance when everything is cushioned, everything is solved. They don't have to really do anything for themselves. They never skin a knee. They never fell down. They never had to figure out how to get out of a situation. So that's causing harm for that particular child when they get out in the real world. They're not going to be able to deal with it. They're not going to be able to survive. So that's a bad thing. So, you know, so the men, good fathers, try to teach their sons, especially their sons, you know, they're a little bit softer. But most men, like, and everything I'm saying in general, I never want to say all. It's never all of nothing. So nobody can come and say that I said all of this and all women this and all men that. I'm never going to say all. If I do, you can, hey, you said all right, I'll take it back. Never want to say all. But I say many men would like to make sure their boys are tough enough to survive in the real world. Nothing wrong with that. So there goes sports. So sports is part of that. So the coaches are hard on, you know, the girls and boys, but especially boys, especially sports like football, baseball, basketball. There's going to be some rough coaches, and because you're competing against each other. So there's a lot that you got to go through. So yeah, so it's good to, you know, get the man to look boy to toughen up, so he won't be a marshmallow going to the real world. And then here comes many go to the military, and in the military, if you're not about to die, and I kind of had this, if you're not about to die, you don't have a problem. that's it. So that's real. If you're out on the battlefield, you can't stop because you got a paper cut. You can't stop because you scrape your knee. You got to keep going. So that's the military. Give you that mindset. You got to keep going and don't stop. And again, if you're not about to die, why you come talking to me about this? And now, you believe it or not, I'm seeing the results of that. So I'm in I was in the military, and when I was in, I didn't really go to the doctor that much. Or if I got injured, I really didn't go and say anything. And that's kind of like ways when I grew up. When I said earlier today on the show, um, I was cut and scratched and bruised and injured, and we would just patch it up, put a band-aid, put a rag, a white rag, and tied into a knot and keep on moving. So that's how I was taught. Um, Going to the doctor for something was kind of strange. So when I went to the military, they were still telling you to be tough, tough it out, and going to the doctor, you complaining, you soft. Again, there you go. You don't want to be soft, so you keep pushing through. But now, a lot of us are going to the VA for uh, for disability benefits. So there's injuries that happened when they was in the military, and now in their later life, they're dealing with all these issues. But the first thing what the VA is saying is, where's your medical records? When did you complain about it? When did you first hear about it? Oh, my second year in the military, and I dealt with it for the next 10 years. So we look at your records, it's nowhere in your records. Well, we was taught to tough it out. And that's true. You was taught to deal with it. You had a pain. If you can keep moving with the pain, you keep on going. So now that mindset, that type thing is catching up with some of the guys. So now I always tell people, look, you're in the military, you got a problem, go get it checked out. Go make sure it's in the records. So don't have a injury or something, and then years later you want to go back and say, hey, I got this injury. I hurt my back. Uh, you know, I hurt my back and, going on one of the missions, but, everybody made it back safe and, went back home, went on leave and, but you still have back issues. You didn't report it. So I tell everybody, every person in the military, report everything, make sure everything's in the record. That's going to help you later on. That just a little side note. So it ties to this conditioning doesn't just affect emotions. So, on the inside. So on the outside, you're told, hey, don't worry about it. Deal with it. On the inside and the outside, you got to deal with it yourself. It affects everything in your life. It affects your physical health also. So not only the mental. So there's a lot of people in the military dealing with a lot of mental issues. So not only the mental, the physical. So let's talk about a little bit about the physical conditions. Men avoid doctors for years because we're taught to tough it out. So that's military, non-military, civilians, doesn't matter. A lot of men were taught to tough it out, especially you got a hard job. You're using your hands, you're getting calluses on your hands, you're hard working, man. You're taught to tough it out. A lot of that white collar stuff might be a little different, but I'm talking about those guys out there that's working, and especially the guys in sports. You twist your ankle, you got 3 or 4 guys out there waiting for you to get your job. Well, probably way more than that. But yeah, you can't slip up. And then sometimes you can't let people see you hurt. So we do that. It's in the mind of not going to the doctor. So it's built in. So I was saying earlier, women need to understand that and come at it, talk to their husband, talk to their man with that understanding. It was ingrained for years to not show weakness. It's not that they're trying to die. It's not that. It's like they have this sign of it's a sign of weakness that they are avoiding. We ignore chest pains, skip checkups. We just learn how to push through injuries. We learn how to push through pain. So I know there's a lot of men that's been dealing with pain for years. They just learn with it. That's that pain, that thorn on my side. That's just part of life. And yes, in many cases, men wait too late. when they should have dealt with the issue, dealt with the problem when it was in early stages. They could have prolonged their life, but they were thinking they was being a strong man by going on with their life. So if we can't even admit that we need medical help, how much harder do you think it is for a man to admit that he needs emotional help? That's what other sign of weakness. I'm not saying that's a sign of weakness, but for us to think that's a sign of weakness. So at least if you broke your leg, like they can see it. Hey, look, my leg is broke, and I'm not playing. I'm not faking this. Okay, you're a man. Okay, you got it. Yeah, he broke his leg, so I guess he got to go in. But the mental brokenness is nothing to show, other than they might think you, hey, this guy weak in the head. Um, so yeah, so a lot of men deal with that. So there's the stigma, that comes with the mental health issues. Like, you don't want the people calling you crazy. that's what like, hey, I got some mental issues. They're gonna think I'm crazy. They can call me crazy, and that's something that's hard to shake. So you try to keep that quiet as possible. And this is something that just came back to my memory, how airline pilots, that's male and female, it's like a catch-22. They could be going through some mental illness, going through some problems, but if the airline catch wind of it, yeah, they might lose their pilot's license. So they got to keep quiet. So even men feel like they're going to lose their respect with their community, lose their respect with their friends, lose their respect with their wives, lose their respect with their kids if they find out that their problem, their father, that man is dealing with mental illnesses. So they feel like that's a weakness. We're taught that our worth comes from being strong, being providers, being protectors. So it's like many men are only appreciated for what they can do, what they do, what they can continue to do. A lot of men have women that, long as you got that job, long as you're providing, you're worth something to me. You lose your job, you lost me. So a lot of guys under that pressure, I might lose my woman, I might lose my family if I lose my job, or if I show that I got any kind of weakness. So I think a lot of women are not under that kind of pressure. Men are under that pressure. I got to provide. I got to make a way. I got to figure this thing out. I can't let anybody know that I'm going through this. I'm struggling with something. So, and I want to talk about even single men. There's a lot of single men that's going through issues, and one of the big issues is being single. Being a male, being single. I'm gonna go off a little bit in that direction about men, single men, and I mean single men, far as that what would like for a spouse, would like a girlfriend, would like a wife, but they've been put into the category of not what the women want. Me and Dr. B, we had a discussion about, I did it two or three times already, finding a high valued man. So there's so many women looking for that high valued man. There's a lot of men that's not quote unquote high valued. They might not check off all the boxes that the women are looking for. So you imagine 80%, I know these numbers are, but I'm really close to it. They're not perfect, but close to it. It's around 80% of the women chasing after 10% of the men. You see that? 80% of the women chasing after 10%. Probably that high value, like what I tell you about that list of things that women consider the high value, the type of man that they want. It's only around 10% of the men that meets that qualification. And 80% of the women chase after them. So there's a large percentage of men that the women won't even look twice at. So I just, as I was thinking earlier, there's a lot of women, they say, yeah, we have these singles, these meet and greet things, single thing for singles, and no men show up. Oh, well, no man. The men who have easy access to women already have a woman. So why would he show up? Quote unquote, high value man got women chasing after him. He don't have to go to no grocery store to go shopping when they're already getting chased. So those men, there's no reason for them to show up. And then there's the average Joe. The average Joe is like, I don't make enough money that they're looking for. I don't look good enough. I'm not tall enough. You know, women go, oh, listen, you don't have this, you don't have this, you don't have your life together. So they like, okay, if I don't have all those requirements checked off, what is the point of going and embarrassing yourself to those events? Let's to the ladies who throw those events. What is the point for average Joe to go to these events when the women is going, they looking for their high value member, they got a list. If he doesn't check off all these things on this list, I'll kick him, go to the next one. So average man, this is me. I'm speaking for the average man. What's the point? There's no reason at all to go to those events. Because if you already feel like you are not qualified for what they're looking for, there's no reason to show up. Then that high value man that you're looking for, he's married. A lot of them already married, and probably got a chick on the side or two chick on the side. Ain't no need to go to the grocery store and shopping for something else. So they're not going to show up. The average dude's not going to show up. And then only one guy showed up. Then when he showed up, he's like, oh no, why am I here? I got to get out of here. So yeah, I don't see, on how we can revamp that and give men another reason to show up. But if you're already saying what you want and what you're not going to settle for, ain't no need for them to show up. And then I just saw a day or two ago, it was a white woman saying how she got her black man. And she said it's easy for white women to get a black man. And the guy was like, how was that? He's like, so a lot of black women, they have all these requirements. They saying all these things. You got to have yourself together. You got to be tall, got to be this, got to be that. Got to have all these different things before they will give them the time of day. She said a lot of white women don't think like that. A lot of white women they look at the potential. They see if they're working or not. They see what their character is, not what they have in the bank account. You see? So a lot of people, they look at what's in the bank account, where they at. This lady, this guy was a anesthesiologist. This guy was one of the highest paid people in the hospital. And it was a pop your balloon type thing. And she popped that balloon, said he wasn't at a right place in his life for her. Like, what? And what? And okay. All right, Miss Lady, if you got yourself so together, why are you on this show, Pop Your Balloon? It shouldn't be that hard to find a man if you all that. You got yourself together. But this guy actually came to the show that's got herself together, and she's gonna pop her balloon because he doesn't have. See, that show her ignorance. So she had no idea. I guess that word was too big for her. And sometimes those guys, I don't know why they go to the pop your balloon, because these men could, find people elsewhere. But a lot of times they're working. But these guys are highly qualified, making a lot of money. And I don't like your shoes that you got on. I don't like your jeans that you got on. I don't like the shirt. I don't like the way you got your hair braided. So all these women are rejecting good quality men off of those type things. And then This one guy just said he didn't like. Um, he turned around and said he didn't like the way this girl's hair was. Or y'all might have saw it. And this one like just went off on him. He better accept a woman no matter how her hair is. It can be short one day, it can be long the next, it can be red, it can be purple, and about just going on and on and on about the hair. A man should never ever talk about a woman's hair. He needs to accept a woman's hair the way it is, way she is. Okay, so the man is supposed to accept everything. He can't say nothing about the weight. He better accept the weight, or accept the hair, accept. But on the women, on the other hand, minor things. I don't like the way he shaved. You know, his hair is too close. His hair is too long. His pants are high waters. Those things, and then they walk away, say there's no good man. But a lot of people they're closing their eyes to people rush right in front of them. All right, let me reel this thing back in. Reel it back in. Wasn't really talking about relationships, but I want to talk about that. But I think it is a lot of single men that are going through situations I feel like they're not good enough. They're not qualified. No woman wants them. They're hardworking. They're trustworthy. They will be faithful. They will be a great husband. They'll be a great father. They'll be a great grandfather. They just be a solid, great man, a great father figure, but he's rejected because he doesn't have the right looks. He's rejected because he doesn't have the right income. He's rejected because he hasn't made it to where they want him to be at yet. So a lot of those guys are going through it. That rejection, it's painful to be constantly rejected. And then you try to do stuff. And some guys, they start off good guys, and they slowly turn into being dogs over the rejection. So they like, okay, so being a good guy, and I say a lot of what they call, what's that word now, simps. Being a good guy is like a simp. No, it's a lot of women, they want the dude to be a dog and a thug and all that kind of stuff. So now the guys are, okay, the only way I can get a woman, I got to change from being a kind guy to being a thug. And now the women, get abused by him. Then they cry when they leave. And then you abuse the good guy that you had. It's a kind of twisted up world. All right, pulling back in. All right, coming back. Now, so I guess we're still gonna be talking about relationships. Now we're talking about in a relationship. So in a relationship, there's we're talking about communication. And in a relationship, there's some communication double standards. I guess I'm glad I don't have anybody to contradict. I mean, y'all can, when I'm done, we can discuss it. But if you disagree, okay. So there is some communication double standards. So why do women feel that they are free to express whatever and however and whenever what they want to say? They can say what they want to say. They don't care. And I'm saying in general, I know there's a lot of women that don't do that. A lot of women don't do this, but there's a lot of women that do, and it spreads. Other women, the younger women are taught to be able to express themselves. Express themselves. Just don't hold back and say different things. Doesn't matter if it's hurtful. They say whatever they want. They say what they want. Don't hold nothing back. But strong men, we can't do that. We are not allowed to just say anything that comes to our mind. We're expected to bite our tongues to keep the peace. So you can have a woman, you can have a wife that's yakety. You're still supposed to be the one that stays calm and don't react to that. We learn what we can say. We learn what we cannot say without problems. That it's so many, and again, I'm not saying all. There are some marriages that figured it out. There's some marriages that has worked it out. But there's a lot of marriages where the wife can say whatever she want to say, do whatever she want to do, just wide open. But the man, he's got to be reserved. You got to keep it to himself. If whatever bothering him, can't say anything. You got to keep it to yourself, because he's like, okay, if I open up about a problem, open about an issue, she's gonna twist it around and still cause it, say he's the problem. So she says he's a problem about something. He try to address it and say what problem that she's causing, but she know how to flip it around and still say he's the problem. So it's best to just say, just let it go. Just let's go on. But a lot of men are balling that up. They just holding it up, holding it inside. That's how a lot of men become emotional hostages in their relationship. I say emotional hostage is when you are not able or not allowed to express your emotions. You're not allowed to express your feelings. You're not even allowed to speak your mind in the relationship. So I think a lot of women ingrain that into their mind. It's a lot of is subconscious. Again, not all women. It's not all women, but it's subconscious. Some women might have a disdain towards their husband or a superiority over the husband. Yeah, that's my husband, and he take care of this and that. But in reality, she still runs the show. A lot of women, not all, a lot of women, they feel like they're smarter than their husband. So their husband is smart enough to work a job, buy this expensive house, cars. They able to, they smart enough to figure out how to take care of all of that. And a lot of there's some stay-at-home moms, they still feel like they're smarter than their husband, and they can, treat the husband like a child when he comes home. Again, some may not say nothing, but many times he's holding stuff in. He's holding stuff in on how they are treated. I just saw this video. It's on TikTok videos where it showed different couples. I don't know. Some of them might have been acting, some not. So y'all probably saw it too. The women, the husbands with the wives, as they were picking out vegetables. So the man was like, they wanted to show how that's the way I take it. So this is my view. The man was showing how the women dismissed him and really, really don't consider their opinion. It's just subconsciously. So this is what they were doing. I saw it was several videos showing. So the women was picking out different vegetables, and she will pick out a vegetable, look at it, quality, let's get it. She put it in the bag. The husband would take the same vegetable out and hand it to the wife. Wife would look at it, this ain't no good. Over and over and over again. Several wives, same thing. It's no good because the husband picked it. It was the same thing that you picked. So that shows deep down subconsciously, those wives was feeling that they were superior. They were smarter than the husband. They were able to pick out the better fruit than their husband could. So whenever he chose something, no, that's kind of like he's a child. He's not smart enough. He's dumb. I'm smarter. But it was the same exact thing that you chose. But just because your husband picked it, you reject it. So that's, men feel that. So that they were just laughing and joking, giggling about that. But subconsciously, it might be, it's really subtle. It's really quiet. But men pick up on that. They pick up on it. A lot of times they don't say anything about it. They might laugh about it. They let it go. But they pick up on it. So there may be some time, one day, it may come out. But it's so subtle. Like he's like, okay, this is, I think where a lot of men feel like that is nothing that's gonna destroy the marriage by bringing up this. So you can see in a lot of times in those situations where a lot of time women don't bring up everything. You got a problem with this, got a problem with this, problem with this, problem with this, problem with this. So women in general, I'm gonna keep on saying it. In general, there's a lot of women, a lot of wives. They won't let the husband get away with nothing. They're gonna bring up everything, and they won't address everything. But then the husbands, it's not worth it bringing up everything. I learned to deal with this. I learned to deal with that. You know, it's some things that okay, that's life. C'est la vie. Let's keep it moving. And I got that's one of my examples. It's like the toilet seat. Going to the bathroom, putting the toilet seat up. And I hear a lot of women saying a man always disrespectful, leaving the toilet seat up, leaving the toilet seat up. And we have I don't understand. So I do think 99.9% time I put the toilet seat down. I'm so old now. It's a habit. But at the same time, if it's left up, we don't understand how women would just mistakenly stick their butt in the toilet and fall in. I don't put my butt on the toilet without knowing that that's clean. So I would never, ever, ever run into a situation where I fall in the toilet and I get upset with the last person for not putting the toilet seat down. I don't understand how that's an issue with women. That's one thing. Okay, so I don't understand that, but I respect women. I put it down. But the other thing is, so women are saying their men are disrespectful or don't love them by leaving the toilet seat up. But if you take another look at it, if he didn't care about you, he'll leave the toilet seat down and pee on the toilet seat. So what's worse? Pee on the toilet seat or forget to put the toilet seat down. So, but if he puts the toilet seats up, he's showing you that he loves you. He's showing that he's thinking about you, that he does not want to pee on the toilet seat. He does not want you to sit on a toilet seat that's been peed on. So he's thinking about you when he put it up in the first place. And if he forget to put it down, that's not a sign that he doesn't love you. But I think a lot of women around the country, around the world, think it's disrespectful, think their husband doesn't love them, and they can just go on and on and on, talk about how kind of like how sorry or the husband is no good because he forget to put the toilet seat down. And men like, well, whatever, it's not a big deal. But I think a lot of times the wives will make a big deal out of different things that a lot of times the men don't understand. It is not worth a big fight over the toilet seat. But yeah, you can have a discussion, honey. Will you please remember to put the toilet seat down, but don't have it at an area and don't address it in such a way that you're attacking him and belittling your husband over the toilet seat or over small things that's not major, that's going to destroy your relationship. So you can cause these little small things, those small foxes or small things end up destroying the whole relationship over that just the nagging, the small things. But okay, I'm gonna move on. I'm talking about, okay, we get back, keep on getting off track. So the fear of conflict cycle. The fear of conflict cycle. Research shows men monitor their partner's emotional state constantly. And I concur. So what does that mean? Men constantly monitor their wives' state. They're constantly watching her. Like he's like making sure I don't say this, making sure I don't do that. I need to make sure she's on the straight path. Everything's cool. Ain't nothing blowed up in a while. So he's watching, trying to make sure don't nothing get blown out of order. Constantly scanning for disapproval, listening for criticism, looking for things that may be a potential conflict. So that's gonna cause a problem. So I mean, like, I need to solve this before that causes a problem. I need to do this before it causes a problem. And a lot of women don't understand that. Like, hey, we trying to avoid problems and even the disapproval. Or women can say a whole lot of women can cuss her husband out just by her looks. Men pick that up. They see it. So and even the disappointment. So it's some women more, like I said, if they're more aggressive, more of the one that's the alpha. I understand I use it. The alpha person in a relationship. If she's showing more control, so now that really the husband is looking for signs of disapproval, making sure that everything's cool. They're looking for any signs of unhappiness. He needs to make sure everything is good. Or you end up in the doghouse. That there's a lot of women that has so much control over their husband. It doesn't take much at all. Or he's in the doghouse. You got to sleep on the couch. Or he's in trouble. Or he's getting cut off for a month. He's on punishment. It's a lot of men in those situations. Yes, there are women in some of those situations, but I believe the majority of it is the men. Men contort. They just twist, do all this stuff to avoid getting a wife angry. And a lot of it. So our society has this statement called happy wife, happy life. When happy wife is your happy life, that becomes a prison sentence. That's kind of rough. But yeah, if a man got to spend his whole life trying to make sure his wife is happy, he's got to buy everything that she wants, take her everywhere she wants to go, do everything she wants to do. It's some people in those situations. Some of them they're going broke, they're going bankrupt, they're getting stressed out, they just going crazy, and they're not even fulfilling their purpose in life. They're not doing what their mission that they're supposed to be doing. So they supposed to be God, and the God, Heavenly Father, God, the son, basically, the husband and the wife. The wife's supposed to be the help me, supposed to be to help her, to help him obey what God has the mission for that man. But a lot of times, when a lot of these men get married, they take God over there, move God to the side, put his wife up there. So that's wife right here, and God is over there. So whenever I finish getting my wife happy, then I can go there and do what God wants me to do. A lot of times the men, that's all they're doing, is trying to make their wife happy, and they end up not doing what God has purpose for him and his family. That's sad. That's a sad situation. My statement I would like to say is happy spouse, happy house. Happy spouse, happy house. It means both of them, both the husband and the wife. I believe the husband should try to do his best to make his wife happy, and I believe the wife should try her best to make the husband happy. So that'll be happy spouse, happy house. But our society says no, happy wife, happy life. So no happy wife, they're hell to pay. And that's that prison I'm talking about. So a lot of men are in that prison, that mental prison. So you have those ones that some men are single that can't get a woman, and there's a lot of men that's got a woman, and they're in that mental prison, mental bondage. And a lot of them, they don't know what to do. They don't have anybody to talk to. So moving on to the silent suffering in silence. Men withdraw not because they don't care. Men withdraw because they are afraid they're afraid that it might slip out what they want to say. They're afraid to express themselves. So they withdraw. They shut it down. They just bring all the stuff in, they bring it in, hold it in. So now I need to get away. So now she said this and she done said that, and I'm going to get angry. So had to get out of the situation. I got to get out of here. So they bring it in. So they don't know. A lot of men don't know how to express. They don't know how to. They don't have a release valve. And then some men is married women that don't know how to accept anything that the man say. So if you don't know how to say it, and then you got a wife that don't know how to receive it, you got a mess. Yes, you got a mess. So many men, a lot of men carry years of frustration. They have a lot of needs that's not met, a lot of desires that they don't not able to do, and a lot of times they're never able to express it. Remember that happy wife, happy life, got that wife up there, and that's all he's doing is taking care of that wife. I just remember I had this I had this friend from the Navy, Jonesy. I remember Jonesy. Jonesy was on divorce court a couple of years after I got in the Navy. I think I was out in the Navy. Jonesy was on divorce court. His wife was suing him on divorce court on TV. I was going crazy. And I was like, this is Jones. That's Jones on TV. That's crazy Jonesy. He did some crazy stuff. I was surprised he was even married. But yeah, he was married. The wife was suing him. And she said what she was suing him for, that she said she gave him 5 years. She gave him 5 years to get the house and the car and the job, to get all those different things that she wanted. She gave him 5 years. His 5 years was up. His 5 years was up. I guess she called the divorce court and they went to the TV show. So for the fact that 5 years, that was his mission. His wife, to do all those things for her, and he wasn't able to accomplish and get everything done in those 5 years. So she wanted a divorce. So I can't imagine the pressure and stuff that he was going through. I think a lot of men go through that same thing. And I guess, I can't remember what the results were, because I was shocked to see Jonesy on TV. And then I was shocked to hear what his wife was saying and what she wanted. And even the judge was shocked. And he's this type of guy. He makes funny expressions and stuff. So it was funny to watch him. So it was just a funny episode. And I do not know what the outcome from it was. But that's a lot of men are in those situations, that stress. So many marriages end not because of what was said. Many marriages end because of what was not said or what was not allowed to be said. So that lack of communication, a lot of men feel like they don't have the ability to communicate. They spend all that time trying to please her and please the children, get the children everything they want to do. And sometimes if they still got issues with the family, other family members, trying to please the family members, so they are struggling and suffering. And sometimes they feel like the only way out to save their sanity is to get out of the marriage, to walk away. That's it. It's sad. So that's a form of bondage. So bondage is real. We can't speak. Sorry. When you can't speak, I say your truth. I really don't. People have things that they believe that they really need to say, so they can't speak the truth. Especially in an intimate relationship, you're not free. If both parties are not able to say what they feel, and I like to take another turn. We have a group. We have a men's group at church, and we read this. We're reading. I read it. Called the Disconnected Man. I forgot the author. The Disconnected Man, where so a lot of it shows men. It was about a man, show how he was disconnected from his spouse, disconnected from his kids, disconnected from people, and he didn't realize it. And I started looking at myself. Hey, I was disconnected too. But anyway, that's a good book for men to read, especially women also. Women can learn a lot about men and what men go through in that book. But anyway, so first of all, the truth. So one thing I learned about myself is uh, the lack of communication. I really, it doesn't matter. So I really struggle with the communication side, and I still, it's different reasons and different things like that. But one thing I did learn over the years and through that book is a lot of times you can make judgments. I'll say you, people, I would say me, you can take a look at a situation and you come to your conclusions, and okay, that's the situation. Imagine a husband and wife situation, and the husband doesn't have the ability to express, and he don't want to start an argument, so he holds stuff in. So he sees something or hears something, she says something, he takes it in, but they don't talk about it. I'm not talking about arguing about it, but they don't talk about it. And he comes to his own conclusion. So now he got that conclusion. I'm gonna deal with this conclusion. I've done that. So I'm looking over there. 1 + 1 = 2. So the answer is 2. Okay, I'm gonna deal with it. That's how it's gonna be. The answer is 2. You don't need to discuss it. But I learned sometimes if you have that ability to communicate, you find out that 1 + 2 = 3. So it wasn't 1 + 1. It was something that you misunderstood, and the calculation was off. So now, since you talked about it, you got some understanding out of the situation. Now you can come to another conclusion. But a lot of times, without talking about it, without having a discussion, you got you got the wrong information in, and now you're holding in the wrong information. And that can work both ways too. The woman could get the wrong information and run with it. But a lot of times men get the wrong information, but they hold it in. A lot of times the women get the wrong information. They ready to go off. Some of them, they ready to bust tires. They ready to fight. They ready to do all these things, but you got the information wrong. I heard this. It's so many different stories. There's one, oh, man, all these videos are popping in my mind. But one situation, this guy had these long dreads that he grew for years. He was out with a young lady one night, and his wife's friend saw him, and she went and told the wife, "Hey, I saw him out with this young lady." So he came home. She didn't say nothing. He went to sleep. She cut all his dreads off. Wake up in the morning, there's a pile of dreads. Why? My friend saw you with a girl last night, and you was cheating on me, and on, you cheating on me, I'm leaving you, and blah, blah, blah. And his hair is a pile of hair. So, a lot of women, they done burn up stuff, blew stuff up. Saw this lady, she put gasoline in the car, blew the car up, blew herself up. So in that hair situation, it was his niece. And she probably knew about it. Oh yeah, you said your niece was coming to town, and y'all was talking. Yeah, my niece came to town, and we went to the restaurant. We ate. She went about her business and blah blah blah. So it's my niece. I wasn't cheating on her, but she done cut his hair off. Probably destroyed. Ain't no problem. She destroyed the relationship by not having communication. So there's a lot of that going on with people not communicating. So people need to be able to open up and say things. I have much. Oh my goodness, already out. So when you're able to hide your thoughts, I'm sorry, I said that wrong. When you have to hide your thoughts, when you have to hide your feelings, when you have to hide your needs, that is what we're talking about by being in bondage, being in emotional bondage, where you got to hold everything in, where men have to hold their feelings in, they have to hold their needs in. There's some needs that I'm talking, even physical needs that I'm talking about with a man and a woman. I probably need to look that up. Well, I don't know if it's a number that you can find, but it's unbelievable as a man to know how many married men that has wives that don't allow them to touch them or don't allow them to touch them on a regular basis. It's unbelievable. I think people would not, they would not believe the number. It's outrageous. It's so many men that the wives do not allow them to touch them, or it's very rare, or she control him. She control it. I can remember this was years ago. We was at, I think it was at it was a church night. It was a church night, and I hope that I don't even know who the person was, so I hope I don't get nobody in trouble for saying it. But it was a church night, and we supposed to stayed out. The pastor needed us to do, and all men could just stay at the church and do this. We need some chairs moved to get ready for an event. It was something that needed to be done. So, like most time, most churches, mostly women, there's a few men that's there, especially during the middle of the week. So it was a few men there. So the few men that was there decided to stay. And I can remember hearing one man saying, I got to go. My wife only allows me to get it on this night at 9 o'clock. So I got one day a week at 9 o'clock. And if I'm not there, I'm not getting it. I got to go. So he had to leave. I'm like, man, if that's not a definition of bondage, I don't know what it is. That's what. So he's like, yeah, if I don't go now, I'm getting nothing, and I might miss the next week. So he had to go, and that was that's always been on my mind. That's got to be like 15, 20 years ago when he told me that. But there's a lot of men in similar situations. But anyway, okay, I guess we can do a whole show about that. So what we're talking about, we're not talking about men need to learn how to control their woman. It's about men being able to have a voice, being able to be feeling free and open to open his mouth and actually say something. This is what I feel. This is what I think. Let's have this conversation and not a one-sided conversation. So it's so many men, again, it's not all, but it's a lot of men. It's like, look, if I talk about this, it's going to be a big old fuss, big old argument. So it's best for me not say nothing. And you got to go do that again. Yeah, I'm going there again. But you don't like to go there. Yeah, she always like to go. So I'm all out. I go because she want to go. But does she go to things with you because of what you like? No, she's not going to the game. She's not going to a cookout. She's not going to, but you got to go to the home and garden show every year. You got to do all those things that she want to do. Yep. So it's a lot of that. So he in another bonded situation where he can't open his mouth and say, look, I'm sick of this. I don't want to deal with this. So let me go. I just got to, I got so much more. So I'm gonna wrap this on up. I'm gonna go to one more thing. So I want to go back to talking about that loneliness. There's a lot of men that's lonely. So not only the single men, I addressed it earlier, a few minutes ago, I was talking about how it's so many lonely single men. They desperately want a wife. They desperately want a family, but they don't meet the requirements what the women are looking for. So a lot of those men are lonely. Some of those guys turn to bad guys, sad to say. Some of those men even turn to predators. That I know that's going to stir up a whole nother conversation. But there's a lot of lonely men. But right now I'm going to talk about there are many men who don't have anyone to talk about with their feelings or their mental health. That's married men. That's married men. They probably feeling lonely in the situation or whatever they may be going through. They feel like, oh, I can't talk to my wife about it. I don't have a friend to talk to about it. So what do you do? So a lot of women, not all, but a lot of women, a lot of times have a lot of other women that they can talk to that listen. Some give advice, some give good advice, some give bad advice. They have someone to talk to. A lot of men don't have that person to talk to about their mental things. We're taught to be self-reliant. We're taught to fight your battles on your own. We're taught to figure it out. So there's some situations where it might be somebody that they can talk to, but if they don't bring it up, so they don't feel like if the line of communication, let's say you might have somebody on other, you might have somebody's phone number that you can call, but if you don't have that line of communication, it's as if you have no one to talk to. Many male friendships, a lot of our friends, I'm saying this from a man, a lot of the men, we got like the surface, like we call it, it's called a surface level friendship. So it's just talk about a particular thing. You know, a lot of men, sports, they got these buddies, all they talk about is sports. That's it. They don't really go no further than sports. There's other men, you got friends at work. That's all you talk about is work. That's all you know about is work. Don't have nothing else. Or you got some hobbies. You do some hobbies. That's all y'all talk about. That's all I say, y'all. That's all the men talk about is those particular hobbies. It doesn't go any deeper than that. So a lot of times the women, I think the women think that, hey, you got all those friends, you can talk to your friends about it. No, we're talking about football, talking about basketball. Some men talking about women, you know, but it's like a certain level. It's not going too deep. Well, I mean, hey, they got the problems they got their own problems. They deal with their own issues and problems. They don't want the other man's problems. Like we got now, there's two people with two problems. Now, I ain't picking up another man's problem. I don't know what to do with mine. I can help you with yours. So, so you see the situation. So that's a lot of men. Yeah, they might have friends. They might have guys that they hang out with, but they're not talking on that level. So if you do have that friend, oh, that's a blessing. That's a blessing for you to have that person that you can talk to and let it all out. So what happens when crisis hit, when something bad happens? Then men realize that they have no emotional support. That's bad. It's like you run around in circles, or you're flying around. Let's say you're flying around in circles and have nowhere to land. That's that feeling. Imagine a bird in the middle of the ocean. I'm talking about the bird that don't land on water. that bird that can't swim. Yeah, that bird is swimming around and have nowhere to land. That's that feeling of a man been in that situation where these emotional crises hit and there's nobody to talk to about it. And imagine feeling that way for years, nowhere to land, nobody to talk to, no way to express, no relief valve. And a lot of times that's attacking the mental stability. And I think a lot of men feel like, hey, the only way to get out of this situation is to end it all, you know, or it's not always trying to end it all, but to pacify it, to try to cover it up. So that's where the alcohol come in. So the alcohol is going away for a while. That's where the drugs come in, covers it up for a while, give you a way to escape for a while. So that's how a lot of people, like, there's some good people, it went downhill. They was trying to hide. They were trying to get away from some mental things that they didn't know how to deal with. So now let's talk about the work on the job. So a lot of men define their worth by their ability on their jobs and what they're able to achieve. That's their worth. And what happens when that's gone? Y'all remember the Great Depression? The Great Depression, a lot of rich folks, a lot of rich men, they lost a lot of money. They lost a lot of money, or all their money. That money is who they were. That's what they felt. I mean, I'm Bob, and Bob got $3 million. I'm Bob. Bob just lost $3 million in the stock market crash. I'm Bob. $3 million are gone. I'm nobody. So I need to end it all. So there was a lot of unaliving during the Great Depression on the rich folks side. A lot of the poor folks, they was poor before the Depression, and they was poor. They already knew how to survive. It was the rich people, it was the wealthy people that was unaliving themselves. So other people, like the poor people, if they didn't figure out, they could have starved because it really was not a lot of help. But they had went through so much for so long, it didn't affect them. You know, because it was, somebody tell a story about how people of color, like say, it was a depression. They had to be told that we're going through a Great Depression. For real? Like, what? If you're already poor and you're going through a poor season, they didn't notice it. You don't realize it. So a lot of people of color didn't even, the Great Depression didn't really affect them. Everything the same. If I'm growing some stuff in the field and putting in jars to make it to the next year, Great Depression, no Great Depression, still do the same thing. That's all they did. They kept doing the same thing. But so when markets shift, a lot of times when a lot of men lose their job, like traditionally they lose their job, they lose their identity. So a lot of y'all know I was in the Navy, and I didn't really feel that. I felt a little different when I got out. It was some freedom, because I was on a ship. When the ship, time for the ship to go, time to go. Ship come back. Ship go for 3 months. You got to go for 3 months. Ship go for 6 months. Got to go 6 months. You're at that whim. So it was good to be free from that. And then at some point I was like kind of lost, because you go for so long of people telling you what to do, when to get up, when to do everything. So now you're on your own. It's kind of like prison. People in prison, they're told what to do all day long. And then when you get out, all right, go do whatever you want to do. I don't know what I want to do, but go do it. And some of them, they go back in prison because there was some order, there was some structure. So now when they get out, they don't have no order, they don't have any structure, they don't know what to do. So and then a lot of times they can't get a job, and they're on and on and on. Some of them rather go back to prison because they don't know how to survive outside. So again, when I just now retired from a job for around 27 years. That's a long time. So yeah, and I do feel like that was some of my identity of doing that. I was senior, I had a senior position around in the city. So it took years to work my way up. And man, it's like, now I'm somebody. You somebody now? Okay, you can go now. So, but I took me all these years to get up here, and you no longer need me. Okay, so now it's a mental thing to deal with. I'm like, so I'm not sad. I'm not going through no depression or thing over there. But I understand how some people, they lose their job, they feel like they lose their identity. They lose who they are. They was called like a police officer. Police officer for 30 years. You had that authority for 30 years, and now it's gone. Think about the famous football players. The one that comes to mind, Tom Brady. You remember when he retired, his wife said he'd go back. She was going to divorce him. But that draw, he was somebody. He was still somebody, but he was really, really, really that person that he thought, took years to get to. He made it there. And now it's time to retire, and it's all gone. So he had to go back. Remember, Michael Jordan did it. He had to come back. It's just hard to walk away. You put all that effort and energy and work to get up there, and that's who you are. And now it's gone. And you feel less than a man. You feel like, oh man, people think less of me because I'm not in that. They're still in that same position. I don't have the same ability that I did when I was in that position. So men feel less than a man, feel weak, feel, feeble, different things like that. I don't know other words to use. So they feel like I was it. Now it's taken away from me. Now what else I got to do to be it again. So yeah, a lot of them, they can't, they struggle, they can't get back to that pinnacle again. And since they can't, they're expected to be there. Okay, I need to go ahead and get rid of me to take that pressure away. So that's some people who didn't have that ability to find, get that relief. So we'll feel that our character is being judged, not just our circumstance. So that's like with jobs. So I just seen, again, videos of men losing their job. So when this man was paying everything, paying all the bills, the wife had a good job, but she didn't put nothing. She said she wasn't supposed to put nothing in the household. And he lost his job, and he just asked her for some help to tie him over until he got a new job and and take over again. She refused. Said she ain't helping with nothing. If that was one of those, you ain't a man, you nothing because you don't have a job. You're not taking care of me, you're not doing everything for me, you ain't a man. See, that's like reinforcing that mentality. You ain't no man. You ain't no good. You're tied to that job. As long as you are doing everything that you're supposed to do for me, as long as you providing everything that you're supposed to do for me, as long as I get everything that I want, you worth something. And as soon as you get a hiccup, as soon as something comes along that might cause some problem, you ain't no good. You sorry, man, I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of you. Go find me another man. So yeah, a lot of men go through that pressure. So speaking of work pressure to perform, men are put under unnecessary expectations of themselves. So a lot of men put pressure on themselves. So it's not only it's coming from the spouse, coming from the kids, coming from society, coming from the jobs. A lot of men still put other extra pressure on themselves also. Men think we have to be strong for everyone else at all times. There's no time that you're supposed to relax. And sometimes that's that going to the doctor. If I go to the doctor might say something wrong. That's going to make me have to skip work and be out of work. I can't do that. I got to keep on pushing, got to keep pushing. So it's just going to happen. It's just going to happen. It's really going to happen that he can end up getting burnt out. If you don't know how to stop and get taken care of. A lot of times that pressure, that weight, that heavy weight of being the rock for everyone else, it end up crushing you. Guess if I'm talking to the man, all that pressure, all that weight of trying to be that thing for everybody all the time and not getting yourself checked out, it's going to end up crushing you. So let's talk about. I'm gonna try to finish this up. So how do we get this freedom? How do men? What do we have to say to men to if men are in bondage? They in bondage, but they want freedom. They in bondage. They don't know what to do. If you're in bondage, you don't know what to do. You know a man that's in bondage, and what do you tell him? So I'm just gonna give a couple of my suggestions. One of my suggestion is for that man, for you to pray. Pray for God to show you a way of escape. Yeah, pray for God to show you a way of escape. Before y'all get crazy, I'm not talking this escape I'm talking about is not talking about marriage. I'm not talking about a way of escape to get out the marriage. Yeah, she did, she that, and yeah, I'm ready to walk away, I'm ready to get out of here. No. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about escape from the lack of freedom of being a human being, to be able to be human, to be able to relax, exhale, speak your mind. That's that escape from that bondage. Ask God to show you how to open up without being demonized. So I guess it can start with you learning how to talk to your wife, and then asking God to give that opportunity for y'all to have that discussion without being like demonized, without her getting angry, without her going off on you by just by you talking. So on top of that, you need to pray for wisdom. Pray for wisdom on how to bring it up. Because there's a lot of times like, hey, we need to talk about this, but I don't know when to bring it up. I don't know how to discuss it. Don't know how to even anything. So that's that lack of communication. Don't know how to communicate. So if you don't know how to communicate, most definitely you don't know when to communicate. So and sometimes you need wisdom. But on top of all of that, before all that, when we're talking about praying, you need to have a relationship with the Heavenly Father. So I know some pastors might not agree with what I'm about to say, but praying without a relationship, how can I say this? I think you will get some results. This is me. I don't know. I'm not God. I don't know God. But the way I look at it is, let's just look at you. Think of you. Think of you being a father. You're a father. You got some children. You take care of your children. And let's just say you go to your front yard and you say, hey, kids, come on in the house. I got dinner for you and I got ice cream for you. Your kids that come running, they go in the house. And then there's some other kids that's out there and they run up to it and you're like, oh, it's for my kids. I don't know y'all. But we know, the kids that say they want some food and they want some ice cream too. But that father's like, I don't know y'all. I don't have no relationship with y'all. Y'all can't come in my house. I got this house for my kids. So, can you see now? That's my a rough example of what I mean by having a relationship with the Lord. So you need to have that relationship with the Lord. And you can be able to talk to him and ask him for things. But if you're trying to show up as a stranger, I want to come into your house and come in the house and grab, I want to get food. I'm going to get ice cream. I'm going to come and get whatever I want out of the house and then walk back to the house, going about my business. Don't work like that. But that's what a lot of people want to do. They want to pray, go in the house and try to grab what they want to get and get out of there and keep it moving, whatever, their belly is full. No, you got to have that relationship. So that's what I would start off with, praying for a relationship with God and then showing him how to have a relationship with your spouse. And if you got a relationship with God, yeah, go ahead. Ask God how to deal with the situation, how to bring up different subjects. I was taught small. So, and men, hey, we don't supposed to show emotions. In the Bible, I think it's the shortest verse in the Bible. Somebody can tell me the shortest verse. Jesus wept. Jesus cried. And it didn't even, it's probably not even all the records. I believe he's cried multiple times. If he's caring and loving and put his heart out, I believe is many times in his life, he cried. I don't believe they put all in the Bible, but yeah, it shows he cried in the Bible. David poured out his heart, just poured out his heart, crying, even ripped his clothes off, just was honest about what he did, or he repented, he was sorry, he changed, and he showed how he was angry. So he was able to show his emotions. So God made us, my eyes starting to burn. God made male and female to be, we gave us emotions. So, and that's what men and female. So men are able to deal with life a lot without the so much importance of emotion, but you need a balance. But then women deal more from their emotions and feelings, and men deal a lot with the facts in different situations. But there is a balance, and that I think that's why I'm talking about God, bring male and female together for that balance. That man is stronger were heavily dependent on the facts, and he depends a little bit on his feelings. And then women depend heavily on her feelings, and they're a little bit on the facts. Those two need to get together to get that balance. So yeah, but we're not robots. The Bible says to bear one another's burdens. You're supposed to bear one another's burdens, including men's burdens. So men, I think a lot of men, so hey, if your wife's going through something, you're supposed to step in and help her out. I think men are good, not really a lot of times good communicators. But if she say, I need help with this, if she's blunt, it's like, hey, I need you to pick this up and carry that. Not one of those implying, me struggling with something, struggling, and then she mad at the husband and like, why are you mad at me? You didn't help her with that. So, and the man's like, why come you didn't tell me? And the woman like, well, you should have saw I needed help. No, women, just come on, just say it. Look, I need help with this. Be blunt. And if you got a good man, he's gonna get up, he's gonna help her with it. But at other, flip it around, the man should be able to do the same thing. He should be able to come to his spouse and say, I need help with this. And she should be able to help him with that. Like I said, some women feel like, no, it's just one way. The man only supposed to help the woman. The man only supposed to do things for the woman. Women don't supposed to reach back. That shows that she got a weak man. So that's like, that's what we're talking about. That has to change. That has to break. Even if that's the attitude in that household, that needs to break. There's no way for this man to come out of bondage if his spouse is wanting to keep him in the bondage, won't give him a way of escape. So the true strength isn't hiding your pain. The true strength, or man, your true strength is facing it. It's certain things that you have to face. That's, growing up, telling you, that's part of, I'm going back to that, part of being a man. You got to face your fears. You got to face your pains. You got to face things instead of trying to run away from it. So in courage, we all know this. Courage isn't the absence of fear. Courage is the action, taking action despite of the fear. That's what courage is. A lot of people, hey, you must have been brave. You have no fear. No. A lot of the most courage people, when they got, there's so much fear, they're shaking in their boots, but they're still doing stuff. So that's what courage is. And real men seek help when they need it. Real men seek help when they need it. Vulnerability with the right people is strength, not a weakness. So you need to find that person or that group of people that you can be vulnerable with, that you can open up and let it out. You got to have that. You need that. You need that circle. You need that. You need those people. And what is that? It's tribe. You need a tribe. Every man needs at least one person that he can completely be honest with. So I'm asking you, Mister, do you have at least one person that you can be completely honest with, that you can say any and everything and let everything out, and not a yes man? So I guess I'll ask this to women too. Women, is there at least one person that you can be 100% completely honest with, to say any and everything? And when I say not a yes man, I mean not a person that when they see you wrong, like I like to say, when they see you about to drive off the cliff and they don't say nothing, they see you on a curve coming up and you driving recklessly and don't say nothing. No, that's not the person. You need somebody that you probably done bumped heads with him. Y'all done argued. You done argued with him. You probably y'all probably don't stop being friends a couple of times. And you came back together again. That person, because they said something, and then you got mad and cussed them out. Well, if you're a believer, you cut it off with them. and then and cut them off from what they said. They told you something, you didn't like it, you ain't friends no more, but you went home and you thought about it, what they said stuck in your head, and you found and realized that it was good for you and not bad for you. And somehow you got back together again, became friends again. And in the future, y'all done bump heads again, and you got mad at each other again. They done told you something that you didn't want to hear. You mad at them. And again, you thought about it. Okay, they were right. They had my best interest. They had my, my life. Okay, got back together. That might be that person that you need to be able to talk to. And especially if it's been over years, you didn't have time to see if they're trustworthy, if you probably won't even be your friend that long. But you need that person to be able to just let it out, just open up and let it out. And so it might be a friend, might be a mentor, might be a counselor. Sometimes some people, hey, there's nothing wrong with going to counseling. There's nothing wrong with going to counseling. It might be a support group, might be a group of people. Just, hey, when we come in this room, we're gonna talk about lay stuff out. When we leave, everything stays in this room. You're not gonna go back and bring this up. We just, that's how those groups work. Men, look for men who've done their own emotional work. So when you're in different groups, you can hear men tell stories of what they went through and how they overcame it. So that's the type of man that you need to talk to. And then even if it's there's men's groups, like I tell you, we got our men group that we have. Or if you don't have a men group, you might have to create a men group and focus on talking real talk. When I say real talk, men are accustomed to keeping their mouth shut and not saying stuff and not speaking stuff. We're good with thinking. We can think a whole lot of stuff. Think. And I have a whole lot of conversations. I talk with the Lord, but a lot of times I have a whole lot of conversation with me. Me. I have a whole lot of discussion. But sometimes you can get the conclusion wrong. You can get the math equation wrong. You can get the solution wrong. If you instead of like I need to talk more to God, but sometimes you need to talk to other godly people. Let out, open your mouth, let it out, let them hear. Because it reminds me of like I like to tell parents, talk to your kids. Talk to your kids. And don't you do all the talking. And I think this, as I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking as I'm going. Women, you can do that with your men. Get the conversation going, but let the man do most of the talking. And parents, fathers, mothers, talk to your kids and let your kids do most of the talking. The reason why I say that, the more they talk, the more stuff comes out, and you can start seeing what they believe. You can start seeing what they think. And especially parents, like, oh my goodness, what in the world my child started thinking like this? Don't do this to bash them, but hey, gather the information. So start thinking, hey, take notes. Oh, they believe this, so I need to work on that. But that's a wrong belief. They believe this and they believe that. Oh man, that's wrong. That's really crazy. So instead of going crazy, just take mental notes, and you understand those areas I need to work on with my child. Women, you can do the same thing with your man. Let your man talk. Don't you do all the talking. Let your man talk, and sometimes just ask him. Not though. I can't tell you. It's different people do different ways. I can't tell you how to deal with your man, but you should know you got him. But get to the point where he's comfortable to be able to talk to you. Let the man talk. Even if he's saying stuff that you don't like, you don't agree with, let the man talk. I know it's gonna be hard. Some women you bite your tongue. Let the man talk. And if you let him get some stuff out, and maybe at the beginning, like you upset with something that he said, and then the more he talked, then you start getting understanding. Oh, that's why he said that. There's no reason for me to be mad, but if I hadn't let him finish talking, I wouldn't have figured it out. I think a lot of relationships, the men don't talk enough. But even, the women don't allow. I'm not gonna blame the women. A lot men feel comfortable not talking. That's a safe place. And even certain subjects, men know. Okay, um, I think men might know. It's like what I used to call. I wrote this. I got this article. It was this magazine about a year or two ago. I wrote an article about relationship landmines. Relationship landmines are different subjects where maybe both couples, especially the man, know we had this discussion right here is an issue. So let me go and bury it in a little bit of dirt, cover it up, and make sure I don't go over there, because I know if I go over there again, it's gonna be a problem. There's another issue. We can't talk about this. Let me go bury it, put a little bit of dirt over top of it, and you got all these issues, and now those are landmines. Now you try. Now if you're in a relationship, you got a whole lot of them. You got to touch a relationship. You got a whole lot of these landmines. But some people have a little bit. Some people have a lot. So you tiptoeing, Then you forget where you buried the thing, and you done stepped on it, kabloom, and brought up a subject, and you done slipped out and said something that you knew they was gonna get upset if you said it. So you've been holding your tongue and not saying it. So you don't hit. No. You need to deal with it and not have these relationship landmines. But I think, in both, if the person has it's vice versa. I'm really talking about men mental health, but I know it's certain women in relationships that they're not able to talk either. But we're talking about men. A lot of men don't have that ability to talk. They not have the ability to talk about everything, every subject, where they have all these landmines that they are burying it. They're not burying it in spite to cause problems. They really think they're hiding it to keep the relationship moving forward. They think if I just store all these things, these landmines, these situations, these subjects, if I hide them or push them back, suppress them, we can keep on moving forward. And like I said, sometimes you just walking around having just a quick conversation, and before you know it, you done stepped on something, and now you're in an argument. It's all blowed all up, and now you're trying to figure out how to get out the situation. You're trying to figure out how to cover it back up. So you might try to deal with it at first, but that ain't working. I need to cover it up. No, we got to deal with it. So that's even like if you're in a relationship where you got a lot of these relationship landmines, you got to deal with one at a time. That's my suggestion for that. Think about it. You know what? Go dig them up to yourself. Dig them up. You've got to write them down. Write them down. You got 20 things that every time this comes up is an argument. This comes argument. Write them all down, and just take one. I'm talking to the man and women. If you just let him stick with that one, just stick with that one. If it takes the time, if you got to deal with one a month, just take your time. Just take that one. Then if you don't get that one solved, don't go nowhere else till you get that one solved. Deal with that one thing, and then build trust with each other, so you be able to be open and be real with each other, and then start going through the line and taking care of those relationship landmines. So now with this part, you got to be smart. Start small. All right, like I just said, I was talking about something, then I looked at my notes. I got the same thing in my notes. Start small. Like I say, start with one thing. Don't dump years of frustration. Don't dump a whole pile of these relationship landmines onto your spouse. Oh my, yeah, you just destroyed the whole relationship. Don't you dare do that. And a lot of people sometimes you get in arguments. I call it, what's that? I have used that written right here. The red herring fallacy. The red herring, when you constantly change this episode. Men do it, but in general, a lot of times women do it, where you're supposed to be having a discussion about one thing, and then the man is replying to that subject, and it turned out that he's not really the bad guy in the situation. So now she need to change it to another subject. So now he's the bad guy over here. And then they have a discussion about it, and they're arguing about it, and then you find out, oh, he's not the bad guy in this situation either. Okay, now I got to change again. So that's a red herring, fellas. So when you just constantly changing the subject. So no, we shouldn't have that. So we just talk about one thing. Start small, start one thing. Don't dump all our things. Just got dump one thing. That's how we can deal with this mental health issues in relationships. We can deal with one thing at a time. And another suggestion for men, use the word I. I know a lot of people, y'all done heard say I instead of you always. You remember, like I said, I started the show. I don't like to say always about nobody. I want to say all women, all men, or they always this, always that. But that's a lot of time. That's that trigger statement in relationship. You always, when a man hear that, here we go. That you always is one of those, I've been holding this in, and now I'm ready to dump it on you. That's what that you always statement. And a lot of times, I'm just my opinion. A lot of times, it's not even always, but that you always help them. That's the big stick. You can knock the person upside the head with the stick of you always to start to get them off track. Get them kind of dizzy. But you always this and you always that. Now you're already throwing the punches, and now they on defense. And so now you're on defense. You really can't communicate if both people. One person is on defense from another person. And then the timing, you got to pick the right time, pick the right place for difficult conversations. And again, my opinion, I don't like we need to talk about stuff. A lot of men, I need to put the gloves on because I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble. A lot of times the men ain't in trouble. But if you say that we need to talk about, that's some more trigger words. So try not to use the trigger words. You can have a good old conversation and then just weave it in. So even the wife is not getting defensive. Wife she's not getting her dukes up. So okay, what are you going to talk about? And vice versa, the man not getting his dukes up. Just pray for that's that wisdom. That's that wisdom I'm talking about. Pray for that wisdom to know how to bring it up and ask for what you need clearly and directly. Just be real. That's what we're talking about. Being real and let it all out. I mean, when I say let it all out, just that one particular subject. Don't hold nothing back for that one particular subject. So when you're going to deal with it, you can deal with it. Don't partially deal with it and halfway deal with it. Deal with it until it might not be totally resolved, but at least you get everything out. You got a sore, a pimple or whatever. You got gunk in there. Get all the gunk out. Just get it all out. Get it all out. Clean it all out. It might be hurting. It might be sore. Get it out. Let that thing heal. You don't get it all out, you can still let the infection come back. And you got to set healthy boundaries. You have the right to express your thoughts and feelings. You don't have to accept being shut down or dismissed. It's okay to say, I need time to process this. That's on both sides. Both people can say, I need time to process what you're saying. So that's what we're going back to one thing and all of that one thing. If you get all of that one thing and that person say, I need time to process, I need time to think about it. That's good. Let them discuss it. Let them deal with it. Healthy relationships require two people who can speak freely. That's a good definition. That's one of the definition of a healthy relationship is for two people who can speak freely. So now, how can we tie in? What is it? It's going on 2 hours. I'll wrap it up in 2 hours. Yes, 2 hours. I told him when somebody asked me to have a discussion about something, hey, it was a lot. This one is real. There's a lot of people need help from this. So what freedom really means, our freedom, our founding fathers fought for freedom. Our ancestors fought for our freedom. So we can talk about the country fighting for your freedom and the people who were enslaved fighting for the freedoms. And then other people who didn't have different rights who fought for those freedoms. So now we're having this show. I'm talking all this long time. So I'm fighting for a man's freedom to be free from different mental situations. So men today need freedom from emotional tyranny. So United States was free from the tyranny of England. So now men need to be freed from the emotional tyranny, including some things that were self-imposed upon them. Freedom isn't just political, a personal, emotional, spiritual freedom. So you need a personal freedom, you need emotional freedom, you need your spiritual freedom. You can't celebrate your nation's freedom while you're living in bondage yourself. So we're celebrating our physical freedom, but inside we are not free. That's why we need to turn to the Lord. So now it's time for the Declaration of Independence for men's mental health. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. That includes equal rights to emotional expression and mental health. Men have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That includes pursuit of mental clarity and mental health. No man should have to suffer in silence. All right. So what does freedom cost? So we always talk about like the freedom for the United States. What does that cost? Freedom isn't free. Y'all know, everybody know that. Freedom isn't free. It requires courage to speak up. It requires someone to face the fears and deal with it. So, man, if you want freedom from your mental health, mental problem, you got to fight for it. I'm not talking about physical fight. I'm talking about putting in the work, fight for it. That's what I'm talking about, working, the work fight, not fight, not physical fight. Put in the work to fight for it. Back to that book, The Disconnected Man. There's a lot of men are disconnected to the point where they wouldn't fight for their relationship. They're disconnected. If they're disconnected, they're not going to fight for that relationship. So there's like, okay, she's done this, she's done that, she said this, she said that. So you done got this further and further and further away, disconnected. So now when it's falling apart, she's screaming, why are you not fighting for this? He don't know what you're talking about. He's like, he's fought for years. He basically surrendered. That's what really happened. He surrendered. He gave up. So now I'm telling you not to give up. I'm telling you to fight for your mental freedom. It might mean uncomfortable conversations. That's the cost. You got to deal with uncomfortable conversation. It might mean setting boundaries that upset people. Hey, if you're trying to help yourself become a better you and trying to have a better relationship, if there's some boundaries that you need to set, you got to set it. Or if you need some space to get yourself together. But the cost of staying silent is higher. You're going to lose that battle. You lose your mental health battle. You may end up losing that relationship battle. You may even lose your life if you do not fight for your mental health freedom. That's serious. If you don't fight for your mental health freedom, you may lose your relationship and you may end up losing your life. So that's why this is so important. So yeah, I'm about to wrap it up. So let's do some I got a few steps. So we're talking to the men. So we talk about your mental health. What you do. I got a couple of steps here. Like here's a daily check-in. Ask yourself every day, how am I really feeling? So it's hard to let other people know how you're feeling when you don't even know yourself. So talk to yourself. Figure out. Ask yourself, how are you feeling? And what men like to say, a lot of women too, but a lot of men like to say, I'm doing just fine. No, we need a better answer than answer yourself. A better answer than I'm doing fine. Write down if it speaks. I'm sorry, write it down. If speaking out loud is too hard. It's sometimes hard to speak the truth. It's hard to hear the truth. So write it down. Start recognizing your emotional patterns. Start paying attention to yourself. So first, you can't fix a problem until you know there's a problem. So you need to start think to yourself. Do I have these? Am I in emotional bondage? Yes. That's the first step. Moving forward. So now you recognize, and now you start taking the steps to deal with it instead of continuing to bury it and cramming it and hiding it. Going back to prayer, we're going back to that relationship with God. Pray specifically. So we're going to pray, but you add into your prayer life. God, show me how to communicate my needs safely. Lord, show me how to communicate my feelings safely without anger. Lord, show me how to express myself safely. Again, like without anger, without sounding like it's attacking your spouse or anyone. Ask the Lord to show you how to communicate that. Ask for wisdom about the timing and the approach. You need God's wisdom to show you when to do it, when to start addressing it. Pray for your spouse to have an open heart. There's some women, like I said, some wives, I'm saying some, they don't want to hear nothing. It's kind of like, sound like the country, the way the country's going in, the country's trying to hide anything bad that the country did and only show the good stuff. We want to only show the good stuff. We don't want nothing about the bad. So there's some wives like that. They only want to hear the good stuff that they do. They don't want to hear nothing about the bad stuff that they do. So it's hard to come to them. Pray for your spouse. Just pray for them. Just pray for them. Ask God to prepare both of you to be honest with each other. Find a safe person to communicate with. Identify one person. You got to get that friend. You got to get that person that you can talk to and be free with. Or get in that group like we talked about before. Find that friend. Find that place. Practice saying out loud what you say, what you think, what you feel. Get to the point of not holding it in. All right. There's much more, but I'm going to wrap it up now. I hope some people were, hope people learned from this. I know this went kind of long. So yeah, it's 2 hours of, I think it's really good information. So yeah, we got to get back. It's some more for us to talk about. It's more, but anything that you got out of this conversation, let me know what we needed, the next thing that we need to talk about. Thanks everybody who tuned in. So pray everybody have a great day. I pray that anybody that's thinking about causing harm to yourself, I pray that you give it to God and let it go. All right. Everybody be blessed. Don't shoot your fingers out. Oh, don't shoot your eye out. God bless.